the market leader in esports betting solutions, delivering everything iGaming operators need to drive profitability. Esports Betting iFrame, best esports odds feed on the market, available with risk management tools and services, and the industry's first dedicated BetBuilder tool for eSIMs and esports. With 24/7 betting content and the highest uptime, your markets stay open when it matters most. Trusted worldwide, built for esports, built for you. Auden.gg, the esports betting ecosystem.
Hello and welcome to the next IO Spotlight. My name is Oisín Lunny. I help great people, companies and organisations tell their best stories through the magic of podcasts, real life events and wonderful digital experiences and webinars like this one. And I'm thrilled to be talking today to Marek Suchar, who is the co-founder and managing director of partnerships at Auden.gg, the esports betting ecosystem. Welcome to the next IO Spotlight, Marek.
Many thanks, Oisín. Many thanks for having us and having me.
You are so welcome. So, my friend, tell me, where are you joining us from today?
Yeah, I'm in Prague, Czech Republic today, as the majority of the company is.
Oh, man, I love Prague so much. It's been way too long since I've been over there, but it's one of my favourite cities. And tell me, what's the thing in the background there? There's a kind of large circular thing. Is that some kind of a space equipment or something? Or
many thanks for asking. No space equipment yet. We have been, as Auden, awarded the fastest growing company in the Central Europe in the last for this year by Deloitte, Fast 50. So essentially, this is the award that we received. So again, like great congratulations, to our team, to our partners that essentially helped us to achieve that. So it's half the spear. So it's really hard to handle. But outside of that is a great recognition for the hard work of the team and the value that we bring to our partners.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations to you and the team.
Thank you so much.
Massive. I mean, the Deloitte Fast Company is very, very prestigious. So you're definitely doing something right. And we're going to dive into that a bit today. But before we get into what's happening at Auden, before we get into why exactly you won the Deloitte Fast Company Award, talk to us a bit about your personal background, because esports is relatively new. It's very fast growing. So I'd be fascinated to know, and I think our viewers would be fascinated to know as well, how do you end up as a co-founder of a leading esports betting company?
Yeah, so essentially I'm a banker by the trade. So I came to the industry not from the betting angle, but more from the esports angle, because I have been a gamer my entire life. So essentially going through the titles such as World of Warcraft, StarCraft, multiple others, Age of Empires, and eventually ended up, I would say, with Dota 2. So this is what brought me to the part of the esports. And through esports, there was just a small step into the esports betting, because with the colleagues of ours and the other founders, we were looking at where to actually monetize esports, because it was our passion. Our CEO is a huge fan of League of Legends. So essentially, it was where we can actually have fun, but at the same time monetize what we are going to do. And this is how we ended up in esports betting after I essentially left Citibank for good, that I spent almost 10 years at.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, your passion, your side hustle, if you like, with gaming and being a serious gamer and having serious fun has actually kind of exploded into this fantastic, Deloitte top company. That's just brilliant. So talk to us a bit about the names, because, you were speaking about those kind of network names like League of Legends, and Odin sounds a bit like a Norse god. Where did the names come from?
Excellent question. It's the combination of things. When you look at esports, it's many times about heroes, right? You have like multiple heroes in League of Legends, in Dota 2. And for example, in Dota 2, there's a hero called Zeus, which is essentially like, a god, lightning god. And at that point in time, you were starting Odin. There was already the MCU as a universe quite well known. So there's a Thor. And at the same time, our business is essentially about odds. So that's why we are not Odin with one D, with single D as a generic name, but it's a combination of odds in your favor. So it's essentially odd in, and this is where Odin as a term comes from. And GG is in the esports world essentially good game. So thanks for the game. You won. We are essentially forfeiting. So it's the combination of our industry, which is odds, Odin as a name of the mythology from the games we are seeing, and GG from the esports yet again.
I love it. That's fantastic. And it's a real sense of the depth of your background in the gaming world. You're speaking the language of gamers, you're facilitating their enjoyment and their passion. But talk to us a bit about the atmosphere at the office and with your team. I mean, do you still get involved in these kind of, multiple, MMORPGs or these kind of massive online games?
Yeah, absolutely. There are two things at it. pretty much all of our traders are still esports fans, or they have started. Many of them are essentially the previous professional players when it comes to Counter-Strike, Dota 2. So this is in the blood of the company. This is in the veins. And of course, we have actually Odin won multiple esports tournaments here in Czech Republic when it comes to the corporate leagues. So we are a regular participant. And at the same time, it's in our veins in a way that when it comes to the external part, many of our platforms, when it comes to Freya, is our risk management. So the mother of Thor and the wife of Odin. We have Heimdall as another vertical. We are looking definitely at exploring Thor and Loki. And when you look inside of the company, everything is pretty much called after the Mortal Kombat. So we have our Sub-Zero, we have our Cabal, we have our Goro, Raiden, Tanya, Sonya. So hopefully, the game keeps evolving because we might run out of those names relatively shortly, given how many services that we provide. So definitely the company is gaming focused, esports focused, inside out, and also internally.
TLDR, badass. I love it. That's brilliant. Nice one. So listen, you are very much at the forefront of esports betting. So I'd love to take advantage of your presence here by basically asking you for a bit of your overview on the esports market. Where is it now? Where do you see it going?
Yeah, so from our perspective, we've been in the industry for 6 years now, and essentially we are just seeing growth and growth. And this is very natural, I would say, because if you speak to your cousins, kids, essentially many times what you are seeing is that kids love to game, right? And esports as such is just pinnacle of gaming. And whenever there are eyeballs, there's essentially the betting element to it as well. So from our perspective, our fan base is just growing. The more and more people are essentially moving into the adulthood. And this way they are more and more into the betting side of things as well. Nevertheless, when you look at Counter-Strike, Dota, League of Legends, these games have been around for more than 10 years now. So there's already a huge bunch of people that play that in their 20s. Right now they are in their 30s or 40s. They have higher than average income, so they are happy to spend the time with the game, watch the streamers, bet on esports matches as well. So many times what we are seeing with our partners that without much of the marketing spend, they are able to double their volume year over year. Many of them are able to triple, quadruple. So it's really about who takes advantage of this growth of the market, because it is definitely a growing market. And based on what we are seeing on the market and also what we are seeing on the market with our partners, at this very point in 2024, we believe that the esports betting market is already $80 billion in terms of volume. And we are, of course, as a provider, getting some part of it with our partners that we provide the services to.
80 billion. That's no small potatoes. Very impressive. Thank you very much, Marek. But talk to us a bit about, how you would define esports, because there's a lot of different areas. It's very sophisticated. It's very nuanced. It means different things to different people. So maybe you can help me and our viewers to get a better understanding of how you look at the world of esports.
Many thanks for the question. From our side, esports is essentially competitive gaming, right? And it can start you and me playing Trackmania and essentially beating each other up, even Pac-Man. Would somebody watch us? Not sure about me. I'm not judging you at all, but on me, probably nobody would watch me playing Counter-Strike or any such a thing. But at the same time, you have different levels, right? Friends are playing, competitors, there are semi-professional leagues, professional players are playing. And this is similar to any other football leagues, basketball leagues, baseball leagues. This is pretty much the same. So in this regard, what we are seeing on the market is that this is definitely a trend that is growing. At the same time, if we take a look at it from the very perspective of the betting landscape, what we've seen during the COVID was that there were two separate angles when it comes to esports, and it was core esports, such as Counter-Strike, Dota 2, League of Legends. We just continued to grow because people stayed at home, they essentially played more, they bet more because there was not that much to bet on. But at the same time, what started to grow significantly was what we call eSIMs. So electronic simulator sports such as eBasketball, eFootball, and multiple other leagues. And they have a kind of different dynamics because core esports, as we call it, Counter-Strike, Dota, League of Legends, this is here to stay. It has this audience. This is younger generation. They are playing the games, watching the streamers, betting. And this is a different audience to traditional sportsbook, I would say. While when you look at eSIMs, this is the games that everybody is familiar with. You are familiar with football. So if you look at eFootball, you know exactly what is happening there. If you watch basketball and you look at NBA, you are directly know what is going on. And in that regard, people are able to understand what is happening in the game. They are able to bet. This is fast-paced. But at the same time, this is for a different audience. This is for the existing audience of the bookmakers, and this is just a gap filler. So we are seeing these two different dynamics, where some of the sports books are interested into more core esports part, some of them are more interested into the eSIMs part, but many of them are actually interested in both because it targets a different audience, but at the end of the day, it's additional content that they can provide to the users.
Nice, thank you. And you spoke about people paying to watch streamers. I mean, I can almost guarantee you that people would probably pay for me not to play esports. It would be just torture. It would be a very niche taste, that's for sure.
You probably just need some time to get to that level, right? So give it the time.
I don't know if there's enough time in the universe to me to get to any kind of level with any sports or esports. Now, music's a different matter altogether, but sports, I don't know. I admire your optimism. Thank you very much, Marek. But talk to us a little bit about, take us into the world of what you're doing at Odin in terms of like the technology, the platforms, the kind of partnerships that you're working with.
I believe why we are essentially growing that much as we are growing and we are signing the partners that we have, and why all the bookmakers are really trusting in us, is that we have the solution end to end. So many times on the market, you will find somebody providing you the data, somebody providing you the odds, somebody providing you the risk management, widgets, iframe, but we essentially take care of all of it end to end. So if the customer comes, we are not going to point fingers in like, this doesn't work because of this and that. We are just straight ahead say, okay, we are going to fix that. So the advantage that we are having is that whenever the customer comes for odds feed or odds feed with risk management or the iframe, we are able to serve them. And also additional advantage is that when it comes to risk management, we see the real-time tickets, so what is happening on the market. So we are able to adjust the models, the lines, we are able to spot match fixing. So to some extent, we are able to protect our clients also from the integrity concerns that might be happening when it comes to the esports. So in that regard, we are one-stop shop for 360 holistic view on the esports betting. So whatever you as a bookmaker want to achieve, we are definitely here to be able to help you. On top of it, we have our own marketing agency, which can help also with the traffic, with the media placement. So all of that, again, whatever you have as a need as a bookmaker, you can just come to Odin and we are able to serve you.
Nice, fantastic. And it sounds like, folks who would have some of the setup already and they need, to fill some gaps there, they can come to you, or folks who just need everything 360, they come to you, one-stop shop, and it's just done. So that's fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you. And, this may be confidential, so it may be an awkward question, maybe not, but, can you talk about any of the folks that you're working with already publicly, any of your, clients or partners or anything like that?
Yeah, it's just awkward from the perspective that probably I will not name all of them, but from the ones that definitely we are working for quite some time and essentially growing with, I can mention Stake, I can mention Sportsbet.io, Betson, Betway, Betano. There is essentially also Picklebet, also Rivalry uses our solutions. So this is like the bookmakers that we directly work with. Or also from the perspective of like, I would say, lotteries, we work with Allwin, we work with Danske Spel, and also when it comes to the platforms that we work with, we might be looking at Aristocrat, we might be looking at BetB, we might be looking at OpenBet. So we work directly with both operators as well as platforms. And on top of it, given there's a huge market opening up from our perspective for North America, we are already licensed in Ontario, we are already licensed in New Jersey, Colorado, West Virginia, Ohio. We are applying for more and more licenses. And specifically in the US, we have started to work with ESPN Bet. So also this is the way how we are pushing also into the NA, because NA is predicted to be the largest legal esports betting market long term. So we definitely want to have our foot in the door and essentially work with the partners there as well.
Oh, smart business. I like it. You can see why Deloitte chose you for the Fast Company Award, that's for sure. But talk to us a bit about, there's probably quite a lot of companies in the Next.io ecosystem. They're watching this webinar. They're thinking, should we reach out to Odin? Should we drop Marek a line? See, can we get involved? What kind of companies do you think would benefit the most from reaching out to you after the webinar?
Excellent question. What we are seeing on the market is that Odin was there essentially to crack two topics that many of the bookmakers had an issue with. One was that they do not have a right product for esports. So many times when it comes to quality, statistics like uptime, number of live markets, margin, the existing offering struggled. And second thing was that they didn't know, and many of them still do not know how to attract the esports audience. So we are able to essentially fix both of that. We are able to provide them the best product on the market. Again, I mentioned the partners that we work with, and they're extremely happy with our solution. So I guess that speaks for itself. And on top of it, we are able to also help them with making the right choices when it comes to media buy, when it comes to sponsoring the teams, sponsoring the tournaments, potential traffic decisions, and all of that. Because at the end of the day, it's about bringing the new bettors to your site, and at the same time having the right product so they stay entertained and they essentially stay with you. So we at Odin, we are again able to answer and address both of that.
Nice. Okay, and we are actually flying through our time here on the webinar. So I would like to kind of, zoom out a bit. And I wonder if there are any gems of advice, because obviously, you're Deloitte, fast company, award-winning, fast-growing company at the forefront of esports betting. What are some things that people don't generally know or appreciate about the sector that they really should know?
Very good question from the perspective of understanding the industry. Again, and I will just use some things from real life, right? If you look currently at your kids, essentially many of them are not that much interested in traditional sports. It is more about like gaming. So essentially, this is their audience for the future for the bookmakers as well. So now the question for us is not whether esports is going to hike. It is more about the proper timing. We are seeing, and this is from the, I would say, slightly arrogance of Western minds, where we are looking at it also from the perspective many times in Europe, again, Counter-Strike, Dota 2, League of Legends. But you have Free Fire exploding in Brazil. You have PUBG Mobile exploding in India. You have Mobile Legends exploding in Southeast Asia. So you have many games that you can essentially entertain. Well, if you look at sports, probably the last decade, the only thing that you've noticed in terms of growing was probably Formula One because of the Netflix series. Probably MMA in terms of like going more into the mainstream and providing more content, and maybe pedal. But outside of that, that's it. In esports, we have a category that by itself is growing on the existing gaming titles. But on top of it, you will have much more games essentially entering the ecosystem and growing. Valorant didn't exist 3-4 years ago, and suddenly it is definitely nicely growing. They were the things where we will just see the games that nobody ever heard of, and suddenly they will be growing. So there is a much more potential in esports betting than essentially in traditional sports for the future, because there will be much more games entering the ecosystem. And as we were saying, right, we are essentially nicely growing on existing titles, but we are adding much more titles for the future. And what we bet on heavily is that it will be not eventually about your sportsbook being structured the way that this will be football or soccer, depending on where you are located, volleyball, ice hockey, tennis, basketball, baseball. It will, and then esports. It will be essentially football, Counter-Strike, Dota 2, volleyball, ice hockey. It will be directly the titles. And many discussions that we had with some of the sportsbook, Counter-Strike is already in the top 4. So you will see much more movement into the not esports being the category within the sportsbook, but each and every game to be the category within the sportsbook. And this is, I believe, what many of the bookmakers are not seeing globally, that they had a bet solution, they didn't cater for the esports audience. So essentially what we were sending out as a message was, I have a very bad product and I don't care about you as an esports fan. So unless you essentially say, come to me and enjoy the game and enjoy it as a part of the thrill, you are watching the esports and you are betting. But at the same time, I care about you because I'm essentially sponsoring the teams, I'm sponsoring some streamers, I'm doing something around esports. Why should they care about you if you do not care about them, right? So it is very, very simple in this regard.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's a brave new world. It really is. So, the nature of how people, particularly future generations, appreciate and enjoy sports is totally going to change. I can see that myself, the trends like, F1 and MMA, etc. But does this kind of open up new languages of marketing? And, you're speaking to new generations about new kinds of sports that they're completely different brains coming online, if you like. How do you kind of approach that in terms of hitting the right notes with your marketing?
Yeah, so we are B2B essentially. So for us, it is more about educating market. But you're absolutely right. And there were multiple discussions and topics in the past when how you can make football better, essentially the Dota 2 better. You will not. They don't care. It's similar like you will go to India and you will persuade them to bet on ice hockey, right? They don't care. Similar, you go probably to something like Sweden, Canada, where they care about ice hockey, and persuade them to bet on cricket. This is never the way. You will essentially go to your audience. If this is the football fan, soccer fan, they will bet on that. If they are into basketball, they will bet on basketball. What we are seeing is that definitely when it comes to Dota 2 fans, League of Legends fans, Counter-Strike fans, they will bet on their title. The one thing that we are looking at, and this is essentially a shot as more like an investment, is that maybe many of the titles like Dota 2, League of Legends, they are extremely complex. You have many heroes, many strategies, many items. Counter-Strike is you just go and shoot people. So people essentially learn that extremely easily. Of course, the game has a certain depth to it, a certain strategies, but you can understand the game from the very beginning. And then you can evolve as you go to better understand the game. So this is something where we are seeing that cross-section of people not that much familiar with Counter-Strike can essentially come and bet on the game because they understand them. They really easily can understand the mechanics. So they are this kind of, but again, coming back to the original question, you don't persuade somebody to like something they don't like, right? You go with the flow and offer the thrill, the betting opportunities to somebody who already know the game, play the game, loves the game.
I love it. Okay, new games, new rules, and a new language is really needed to address it and give the e-gaming fans, the esports fans, exactly what they want. But speaking of which, let's zoom in a bit. Let's come back to Odin. Now, what would be your kind of closing elevator pitch, if you like, to any of the bookmakers watching? Why is Odin uniquely positioned to give the market exactly what it needs?
Yeah. Literally, when we sit down at the call with any potential partner, it is extremely easy. I don't need to persuade them to take a certain product from me. It is more about what they want. And we can essentially supply them with whatever they need, starting with the odds feed, ease management, iframe. Essentially, we can supply them the solution that they need for esports. We are trying to work with the partners. Really, I'm using the word partners, not clients, because for us, it is about partnering rather together and growing together. So from that perspective, you can go to the market and essentially find provider for individual solutions. But when you are looking for the end-to-end solution, Odin is essentially literally the only company on the market that can provide you the solutions starting with data, odds, ease management, iframe, widgets, additional content. There is no other company like that. And that's why it's also very easy for us to speak to the partners in the way, not pushing them a certain solution because this is the only thing we have, but coming to them in a way, okay, how can we help you? What can we do for you? And support them on their growth, where we had multiple customers. They started in their esports journey somewhere, and they eventually moved somewhere else. And we were able to support them across the journey because they were evolving and we were evolving as well.
Nice. Fantastic. And last question from me. If anybody is watching this and they're thinking, this is so up my street, we need to get into this esports market, there's loads of opportunity, it's global, it's fast moving, let's go. Where can they meet you in person? Are you doing any trade shows early next year, anything like that folks can actually come, see the product, meet you and talk about working with you?
Yeah, when it comes to Odin, usually at all the major conferences, you will be able to find us, like exhibiting. Otherwise, we are going to almost all the shows, not necessarily me, but somebody from the team. And of course, the next big one is ICE. We will have a huge booth there. So this will be part of Esports Arena. So we will be showcasing the esports. We will be essentially doing a lot of activations. We will be showing our solutions. We will bring a lot of our partners as well. So definitely a pleasure to meet there. On top of it, we are planning to do the bookmakers tournament. So essentially, our partners will be essentially playing against themselves in Counter-Strike, 1v1. So they will be also bringing it closer to the industry in a way that bookmakers will be able to feel that Counter-Strike rush, that kind of game. And yeah, well, I'm already keen to see who will end up winning that entire cup because I have to say that the competition is quite fierce.
I can only imagine. My goodness, there's no pushovers in that crowd. That's just brilliant. Okay, so there you have it, folks. Get yourself down to ice, get involved in the bookmakers tournament if that's up your street, and absolutely reach out to Marek and his team at odin.gg to find out more about this incredibly exciting sector of the industry. So thank you so much for joining us on the next IO Spotlight, Marek Suchar.
Many thanks for having me, Oisin.
Folks, let's keep the conversation going. Comment wherever you're seeing this video. Reach out to Marek and his team on LinkedIn. And I wish you all good luck and maybe see you at ICE. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.